Hello and welcome to the Be Heard, Be Brave, Be Free channel, where the focus is on self-development and encouraging and supporting each other through this life experience. I am experimenting with the content and frequency of posts on this channel. So over the 6-week period that we're currently in, this is week 4, I am experimenting with having a video on a Monday focusing on self-reflection, outlining the lessons that I've learned, the progress that I have made, the things that I am proud and wanting to celebrate, and taking you on that journey so you can get a kind of weekly routine, if not a daily routine that you may already have, or just enhance that. And then on a Wednesday, it's about the tools, techniques, hints and tips for my coaching and therapy business and the extensive self-development work that I've been doing over the past 20 plus years. And on Friday, it's about storytelling, me using my past experiences as a blueprint of things to not do, and where self-reflection has highlighted lessons that I could have learned and quicker if I had the right support, tools and techniques at the time to potentially help you fast track any transformation that you may be going through. So that is the nature of what this channel is all about. But as the topic today suggests, it's all about how to experiment and not take failure personally. And we'll use my kind of sort of self-reflection from the past week and where I'm sort of thinking things are going ahead. So for those of you that have not come across my channel previously, my name is Tanya. I'm 52 years old and I live on the east coast of Scotland. And I've recently made a major pivot in my career where I've moved from being a qualified accountant working in the financial services industry and moving into the online coaching and therapy space. Now, I have done extensive self-development courses, reading and experimenting throughout my entire life, and in some instances having more success than others, but this is me doing some kind of deep inner work over the past 18 months and fast tracking and gaining a better understanding of what works, what doesn't work, and helping clients have major transformations in a very kind of short period of time. So my training has been in the rapid transformational therapy with Marissa Peer in her training school, where I have trained in hypnotherapy and also in coaching. But both of those modalities are fast-tracked within the rapid transformational therapy space. They're both on steroids. So rather than it being that you would start working with me and it would take a year, maybe a couple of years of working together before you're really starting to see major progress and impact in your life, my aim is to look at a 3-month period for the majority of clients and getting some major fundamental profound changes that can then enable you to do work on your own or on a more reduced basis, where then we just do coaching maybe every few weeks or maybe once a month to just keep you accountable and on track to make sure that your changes are long lasting, and if any kind of new hurdles sort of come away, that you've got someone that you can actually brainstorm with and work collaboratively in order to bring the changes in your life that are going to add the most value in the shortest period of time, but they are sustainable and fun in the process. So, self-reflection today, looking on the week previously, good progress has been made. I've managed to complete the second book, so I had given myself a goal over the 6 weeks to complete finishing 3 books that I had partially started, so they weren't brand new from start to finish books. Some of them were about a third in, others were probably at the halfway mark. So the one that I finished this week was Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before? And this book is by Dr. Julie Smith. Now, Dr. Smith has actually got a YouTube channel, and I think she's also got an Instagram account where she posts little short bite-size hints and tips, but she's coming at it from a psychotherapist and psychologist kind of perspective. So there is a lot of kind of useful tips within here, so it was reassuring that a lot of the stuff I had either come across because I was doing it or I had read or listened to a podcast or through courses that I've attended, we're giving you the same kind of sort of like hints and tips, but just presenting it from a different perspective. There is also a wheel of a feelings wheel, which demonstrate all the feelings that we experience throughout our lives, but most of us have got a very kind of limited vocabulary, and it's about expanding that vocabulary more and more. So what I'm going to do in the description below is I'm going to add a link to a website that will take you to a visual representation of that wheel. So it will give you some more language if you've not come across that, because what we don't want to be doing is that we're limiting the scope of our vocabulary and the meaning that we attach to words. So if we're feeling angry, is it just anger, or is it frustration, annoyance, pissed off, peeved, whatever the language may be? But it's just getting that more kind of colour in the language, so then we can actually identify, well, what might have been the trigger for that feeling, and then how can we potentially reframe that. So I'll add the link to that below. The other thing that within this book Dr. Smith is sort of like covering is the fact that there's different modalities for talk therapy, whether it is cognitive behavioural therapy, there is other types of therapy that she sort of makes reference to that can be of value to certain individuals, because for some people they want to be heard and they want to sort of like voice what's been going on to sort of get that opportunity to sort of like let it go, because they're not willing necessarily to do that inner work on their own, or they need someone to validate and reassure them that they're on the right path and maybe challenge their thinking, because they might have blind spots, in which case talk therapy is of benefit. But where the talk therapy is actually revisiting a lot of pain and suffering, but you just keep on going over the same and you're not getting instant relief from that, that is where I would highly recommend that rapid transformational therapy would speed up that process for you. Because what we don't want to do is that you're in a prolonged period of pain and suffering, which just keeps you stuck and in that kind of negative mindset, and the feelings and emotions and the quality of your life are being impacted, plus the relationships in your work and everything in your kind of outlook. So a good book, and what we're going to do is over the kind of coming weeks and months, I'm going to use some of the kind of chapter headings as the basis for some of the content that I'm going to produce on YouTube, especially for the Wednesday kind of tools, hints and techniques kind of sessions, which will be a topic, and that will provide some of the stuff that Dr. Smith is providing, but some other kind of inputs that I can provide from my training or from other self-development work that I have done. So good progress, book's done. The other thing that I've done is the weather here in Scotland has gone a little bit gloomy and colder, hence the longer top on today, because it feels a wee bit cooler. So I decided to do a bit of batch cooking, and I've been trying to do the kind of healthier, well, not trying because that implies failure, and that's the topic today. I actually decided it was time to sort of restock the freezer with some homemade meals, and also because of the weather I wanted something comforting but healthy. And this is where bread, I've got this kind of love-hate relationship with bread. Bread doesn't necessarily agree with me, and it creates bloating in my body, but there is this recipe that I have been doing on and off probably for the past 10 years, and it literally, it's got 4 ingredients, and I'll put the kind of information in the description below. It's spelt flour, Greek full-fat yogurt, and bicarbonate of soda. You just merge those 3. If you want to put a pinch of salt, it becomes 4 ingredients. I tend to not necessarily do that because I get enough sodium through electrolytes on a daily basis, so I don't need additional. And then it's just merging the kind of 3 ingredients together and then popping it in the oven, and it makes the most delicious whole grain spelt flour bread that freezes absolutely fantastic. I make it in a loaf and I cut it into slices, and then I put 2 slices in packs and then put it in the freezer. and then I can just take it out. It probably defrosts in about maybe an hour. So then you can actually either toast it or you can just actually have it fresh. A little bit of butter or a bit of avocado or some cottage cheese or with some eggs. It's absolutely delicious. So I've created some comfort bread, and I also sort of decided to batch cook some chicken. So then I've actually got a meal for today and tomorrow, and I've got a couple of portions that I'm actually going to freeze. So then I've actually got some nice homemade food that I can just defrost as and when I want a quick meal prepared. So I tend to have this tendency when the weather starts to cool down that I want to do a little bit more kind of batch cooking that is of a healthier nature, but at the same time providing a bit of comfort feeling. The other thing that I've sort of like come to, so one of the lessons that I've realized last week is that in order for me to actually keep my productivity high and alleviate boredom, is to actually provide myself with a gamification. I'm pretty sure that is a word, and it's about creating little challenges. So I decided to give myself a 7-day challenge where I'm contacting people on Facebook to increase the kind of footfall on my business page, and I've got a link of it below. And the idea is that I'm going to, over the next 7 days, I'm going to be contacting 30 people on a daily basis to try and increase the amount of contacts that I've got, so then it can direct some traffic onto YouTube, but at the same time to my website. And in addition, what I'm going to start doing after the kind of initial 7-day is I'm going to start posting once a week. And the postings that I'm going to do on Facebook are going to be predominantly more positive, kind of encouraging memes or quotes, just to inspire a little bit of kind of positivity in people's lives without bombarding them with information, because I'm conscious that that is something that I don't want. There's a lot of information out there, but just to sort of like channel a little bit of kind of positivity and sort of a little bit of Tanyism in their life, if that is what they're willing to sort of like accept by accepting that friend request. So I've come to realise I need a bit of focus. And in terms of things that I'm really proud of from last week is that the boundary work and looking at codependency and the work that I've been doing in that space is actually starting to reap real rewards, where I'm actively taking action without overthinking it, and I'm coming from a place of non-judgment, no blame, kindness and compassion, and I'm able to support my clients where I'm letting them figure out what is the right thing for them, and I'm not overstepping by trying to offer them a solution, but at the same time being able to sort of like guide them and encourage them on the journey that they are choosing to sort of like go along. And that is just being able to see it in real terms, tangible ways to sort of like see the progress that I'm actually making is almost like pat on the back, well done me. So proud moment from last week. Then in terms of exercise, I did the vibro and a little bit on the treadmill as well. So I've increased from my 2 days a week to 3 days. So that's good. So week 1, we're tracking. And then I've also started to have some ideas of what the kind of YouTube content is going to be further down the line. So watch this space over the next couple of weeks as I'm sort of refining the thinking. I'll start sharing more sort of information in that space. And this is where the thing that I wanted to sort of like, what I've said, it's about experimenting. So I've experimented a little bit with batch cooking. I've experimented with the Facebook about bringing a little bit of kind of gamification, making it a bit of fun and stopping the overthinking. So I'm taking action, but at the same time, I'm sort of like reframing the thinking that I'm reaching out to people that I may not even personally know. They might be friends of friends, and that's why I'm sort of reaching out. If it resonates with them, they will select accept, and then they may sort of go onto my site and see the kind of content, and then they may choose to continue, or they may decide to unfriend me or block me, whatever the case may be. But I'm not taking that as failure if I'm being rejected. I'm seeing it as a positive, that I'm actually taking proactive action and putting myself out there. And this is where the universe is going to provide the right clients at the right time. When the student is ready, the right teacher comes along. And if I can potentially provide a little bit of impact, whether it is a positive, encouraging quote or a YouTube video that I can actually share with them that helps them on their journey, then that is the kind of positive stuff. So it's about reframing, but it's about taking, like, pushing that comfort zone out, and you're experimenting, doing something different to keep things fresh and interesting. And it's about not seeing things that, if they haven't worked out, as a failure. It's been a learning opportunity, and it's about celebrating the small victories because you're making that 2mm progress. Okay, I'm going to bring it to a close here. Thank you for sticking around. And now remember, go out and seize the day. Have the most amazing day, no matter what the weather's like. And always remember, there's choices in life, so choose wisely. Until the next one, bye.